Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So one should very strongly take hold on to the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. One who has no relationship with Nityananda has taken birth uselessly. He's just an animal and a rascal. And if one doesn't chant the name of Nityananda, then one becomes, he takes pleasure in material happiness instead of Nityananda, spiritual happiness. And how will his knowledge and his high birth, how will they help him? Becoming insane out of egoism, such persons forget the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, and they take that which is untrue to be true. If one can get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, one can attain Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So hold on to those two lotus feet. Again, he's recommending. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are reality. His servant is eternal. His servants are eternal. So again, for the third time, Narottama says, hold on to those lotus feet. Narottama presents himself that I am very sorrowful. I'm suffering. Nityananda, you make me happy. Nityananda will make me happy. And then he's praying to Lord Nityananda, please keep me at the shelter of your red lotus feet. Red lotus feet. Word is ranga, which that also comes in Tamil. So it means red, or it means pleasurable also. So this is a song by Narottama Das Thakur. And when you come to this Krishna conscious movement, we have many things to learn. We have to learn about all our great acharyas, because Krishna Bhakti is received through the mercy of the acharyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his contribution is Prema Pumarto Mahan. The greatest or the highest achievement for every human being is to attain Krishna Prem, pure love of Krishna. Narottama Das is Krishna Prem personified. And his kirtans, which he has composed, they are a conduit from this nasty material world to the world of Krishna Prem. So as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Parampara jano bhalamati. We should know very well what is parampara. So we should know who is Narottama. Narottama is a name of Vishnu, of course, which means that he appears like a human, but he is the best of humans or above humans. Lord Vishnu comes in many forms, not only as human, but as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, Hayagriva, many non-human or semi-human forms. But Narabapu Taha Sharup, his original form, is from our perspective like a human form. Although actually the right way of understanding is that we are, or from his perspective, we look like, the human form looks like him, not that God is, the Supreme Lord is just some other kind of human being. But among the Gauriya Vaishnavas, when we say the name Narottama, we usually think of Narottama Das, the great Acharya of that name, who made a tremendous contribution to the Sampradaya of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his presence and preaching and sending his disciples to preach. And by composing these kirtans, which are in very simple Bengali, so everyone can understand it. Of course, that's not very much accessible to people who know Tamil and not Bengali. But just as people all over the world who are native English speakers or Croatian speakers or Slovak speakers are learning the songs of Narottama Das because of their spiritual value, you can also do so. So these songs of Narottama Das, they're very, very much central to the Vaishnava culture of Bengal. And due to the influence of Narottama Das, to a large extent, everyone in Bengal up to the present day, or maybe in the present generation not, but they all at least know the name of Lord Nityananda. And a few, especially of the songs of Narottama Das, are very well known. This one, Nitai Pada Kamala, that we just sung, that is very well known among the Vaishnavas of Bengal. In Mayapur at Gaur Purnima this year, I was initiating one young Bengali brahmachari. So there was a big crowd of Bengali devotees. So I just I gave him the name Brajendra Nandan. So I was talking about that. I was talking about the meaning of the name Brajendra Nandan. So I quoted some words from a song of Narottama Das. Brajendra Nandan Jai. I gestured to the devotees present that they should say the rest of the line, and more than everyone said, Shachi Shuta Hoilo say. Everyone knows this song. Brajendra Nandan Jai, Shachi Shuta Hoilo say. You don't know it. You have to learn it. Which means that well, literally means Brajendra Nandan this, means Krishna this, Shachi Sutta, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has become that. Anyway, the point is that everyone, it's so well known, everyone knows it. So that's a very nice thing about preaching in Bengal. You can just sit down and sing and everyone will sing along with you. So many, it's just very much part of the culture. Narottama songs, others also, this Jodi Gorn, anyway, they don't know. There's no use to say here, they don't know it. So in that sense, the people of Bengal are most fortunate, because this culture of knowing who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, that is very strong. By the grace of Srila Prabhupada, that same culture is being brought all over the world. In South India, Vaishnava culture, all of India, the Vaishnava culture is very strong. But here we want to introduce Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Prem Sankirtan. This Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was preaching in South India, and he was saying that the people, they know Lakshmi Narayana, but they don't know Radha Krishna. Of course, they've heard of Radha Krishna. The first president of India was from somewhere near here, and his name was, what was his name? Dr. Radha Krishna. So it's not that it's not known, but the whole culture of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Prem, that's not known. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that in South India the people, they know Archan but they don't know Kirtan. Of course there's Kirtan in South India also. But generally more emphasis is given to Archan. But someone wanted to show that there's Kirtan in South India. But this kind of Kirtan is not appreciated. It's a car. It's in reverse. They can put Hare Krishna instead of that tune. Yeah. Anyway, they're reversing. They have to. Someone got upset and they're going away. But with Archan, there's people will come to the temple, and there's an Archak, and he does the Archan, or the puja, as you call it here. Puja, alright, okay. And everyone stands and watches very respectfully. But with Kirtan, everyone gets involved. And the standing very respectfully, which is appropriate in Archan, in Kirtan there's a different approach, because you shouldn't just stand like this, but there's dancing. So we also, in our temples, we also perform Archan, because that attitude of respect to the Lord must be cultivated. But apart from respect, there's also the ecstasy of pure love for Krishna. And that is the special contribution of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave another example, that the other sampradayas, they worship Vishnu and Krishna, so that bhakti in all the sampradayas is very sweet. It's like a sweet, a Nadu. But he gave the example that the Gauriya teachings, that's like Nadu with extra vitamins. It's more nourishing. Nourishing for the soul, of course. This nourishment for the soul up to the fullest platform of love for Krishna. So we have greatest respect and affinity for all Vaishnavas everywhere, and we also like to visit the so many wonderful temples are here in Tamil Nadu. But in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, more important than building temples or building temples of bricks and stone, is to build a temple in everyone's heart, and to bring instead of having a temple where people can come and perform bhakti, to bring bhakti door to door. One time, our Srila Prabhupada, our worshipable Gurudev, he would generally every morning go for a walk. So one morning he was walking, he was in Paris, and the devotees brought him to the section of the city where they have the embassies of various countries. So one devotee suggested to Srila Prabhupada that in future we should have our temples like our embassies in every city, ISKCON temple. And Srila Prabhupada said, why? As if to chastise that devotee. He made a wrong suggestion. Why every city? Every home. Every home should be a temple of Radha Krishna. Just like we used to see, not nowadays, but I didn't come to Tamil Nadu to South India at all until 1989, so I don't know what it was like, but before that. But I remember even in Calcutta or a big city, I was mostly in Bengal, so you'd go early in the morning. If you went around any place, you'd hear ding, 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 and the smell of incense is gone. Everyone was doing puja at home. It must have been the same here also. Then gradually people started watching TV till late at night. Then they'd get up late in the morning. They just put on the cassette of Lakshmi Subramaniam singing Vishnu Sahasranam, or this Venkatesh Suprabhatam. That's also forgotten now because the TV is on early in the morning. So people have become, although Srila Prabhupada said that in India people, they used to be like devas, but now they've all become like animals or worse. So the purpose of building this temple here is to encourage people to establish temples in their homes and in their hearts. Not just as a formality that we worship God and we hope that we'll get some good payback from that. It's like the people, they open their shop in the morning and they offer one stick of incense, usually just one stick. That's the first thing they do. To whichever God they think is going to bless them with more money. So it's not this kind of worship that we want to encourage. But the The Vaishnava culture is based on the principle of Sharanagati. So previously everyone knew this term and what it meant also. And people, at least people who are a little learned, they would know what are these 6 parts of Sharanagati. It was just everyone knew. It was a common thing. People at least knowledge of the Bhakti culture. But it's gone back a long way. The Indian leaders, they were struggling for Indian independence. So they got their independence, and then they got the independence and they got the freedom to garland Lord Ram with shoes. What sinfulness! That wouldn't be in the Western countries. If you put shoes around the statue of Jesus, they'd kill you. But people in India have lost their culture so much that they can tolerate this rascaldom. That the leaders, they can directly and openly speak against Krishna and Rama. So they are the worst misleaders. It means actually there's no bhakti in the people. Otherwise, how could they tolerate this? Talking about Lord Nityananda, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he said that one who does not respect Lord Nityananda, tabe lati maro ta shire rupari. If they don't respect Lord Nityananda, then I'll kick them on the head. Nityananda, we're talking about the real Nityananda, not this rascal big fat rascal who's imitating. So Vrindavan Das says, I'll kick him on the head. Anyone who doesn't respect Lord Nityananda. So some people would say, well, how is that bhakti? And that's inconsistent with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, Trinadapi Sunichta, that one should be more humble, or consider oneself lower than grass. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained that Vrindavan Das is proposing to kick on the head persons who disrespect Nityananda is the most perfect display of humility. And being a fully surrendered servant of Lord Nityananda, that he cannot tolerate any disrespect toward him. Just like Hanuman, his bhakti was not only chanting Ram Ram, but also burning Lanka. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained that Vrindavan Das, he's very merciful, that these people, they're going to go to hell for blaspheming Bhagavan, but he'll kindly kick them on the head and give them some dust from his lotus feet. And then they can be delivered from that sinfulness. We have to learn what bhakti is. Bhakti is singing and dancing in glorification of Bhagavan. But if necessary, then the atheists, they should be chastised. As Srila Prabhupada commented in one purport, that we shall prosecute our Krishna consciousness movement very peacefully. And if necessary, kicking on the heads of the atheists. So literally we may not kick them on the head. The modern laws are such that they don't allow such things. The laws of the country are so bad that you have the freedom to blaspheme Bhagavan. The government itself should punish such people. But devotees, they should speak clearly. What is the fact? Just like Narottama Das, he says this, Sheshambandha Nahija Britha Janma Gelota She Pashu Barudunacha. The one who does not have a relationship with Nityananda, he's got born uselessly, took birth uselessly, and is simply an animal and a rascal. So he may say, well, this is not very polite. It's true, it's not very polite. But politeness is not the highest principle. It's just like, if a gang of dacoits come with machetes to attack your house, and you just stand outside and say, would you please not do that? They won't even listen to you. They'll just chop off your head. That's why many people, they keep guns. At least in all of Bihar and UP, anyone who's got more than, cheap TV, or they keep a gun. It's just considered a necessary part of life in that part of the world. So with hooligans and dacoits, you don't deal with them politely. What is that? Pashavo lagudho yata. When one with animals, you have to use a stick. So similarly, there are people who are or blaspheming Krishna, who are misrepresenting the message of Krishna. They are spiritual hooligans. Bhagavan Krishna comes to this world and speaks Bhagavad Gita so that we can get spiritual knowledge. That spiritual knowledge is that Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we, the jivas, our highest good or only good comes by surrendering to Him. But these dacoits in the form of pandits and gurus and sadhus, they present it as if Krishna is saying something else. It's just like someone's very hungry and someone gives him some nice food and gives it, here, take this food and give it to someone. Give it to the hungry person. But that person who takes it to give it, puts some poison. So that person, he's giving the food and he's posing as if he's a great benefactor of the hungry man. Actually, he's his worst enemy. You may say, well, that's a silly example. Why would anyone do that? Well, someone only would do that if they're extremely envious. Well, that's actually exactly the same thing that's going on. People represent, here are spiritual teachings that will help you. But actually they're giving poison. They'll quote Bhagavad Gita, but instead of explaining that as it is, that we are meant to surrender to Krishna, they'll give you some bizarre idea that we're all God or some nonsense like this. Why? Just because they're extremely envious. So this should be pointed out. We should tell people clearly that this person, don't believe him, he's a cheater. You say, well, how is he a cheater? He's talking Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is very good. Just like the hungry man who says, if someone comes smiling and gives him a plate of food, you say, don't eat that. And you say, well, why shouldn't I eat it? I'm hungry and this is food. So you have to tell him very clearly that this person he's envious of you and wants to kill you and has put poison in it. So in the same way, people they pose aside, they smile, they look nice, they have a beard, that's required. And they use words like peace and truth, and they say things which make you feel good, like I am always with you. But they don't teach the actual fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we have to surrender to Him, and anything apart from this is simply opposite to our actual welfare. And instead of teaching us to direct our attention to Krishna, to worship Krishna, all the attention goes to them, these bogus gurus. So these people are cheating, and it should be pointed out. They are the worst enemies of human society. So we find in Bhagavad Gita itself, Lord Krishna, He speaks in very clear terms about those who are cheating, who don't surrender to Krishna. Krishna says, Namang dushkritino murha prapadyante naradhamaha maya parita jnana asuram bhavamashita. Those who do not surrender to me, Krishna says, are all rascals. Dushkriti. The word dushkriti means rascal. So they come in 4 basic categories. Murha means fool. Naradhama, lowest among mankind. Maya aparita jnana. They are apparently very knowledgeable, but their actual knowledge is covered by illusion because they don't want to know Krishna. They're envious of Krishna. And asurang bhavamashitaha, those who are just demons, that's all. They take shelter of the nature of demons. So Narottama Das and all the acharyas and Krishna himself are pointing us toward Krishna. Toward Krishna is Nityananda. Krishna is Nityananda. Krishna is always blissful. Nityananda is also the name for the Balaram avatar, the brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But that Nityananda, that experience of eternal bliss, that is also the nature of the jiva. But the basis of that ananda, the basis of that bliss is there must be surrender to Krishna, accepting Him as supreme. So actually the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to give prema, or the highest level of love of Krishna. But to distribute that prema, or to that people can accept that prema, they have to be freed of so many misconceptions. Nityananda Prabhu is described as Prem Pracharan or Pashanda Dalan Dui Karjan Nityananda Karen Brahman. Nityananda Prabhu would travel from place to place and he would preach prem, and he would also subdue the atheists. Because the atheists are always envious of Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So please study Srila Prabhupada's books very carefully. Srila Prabhupada said, by reading my books, you get in touch with the previous Acharya. Because Srila Prabhupada, before composing his purports, he would consult the commentaries of various Acharyas. Hare Krishna. Is there any question, please? What is the simplest way to introduce? Well, simplest is not necessarily the best. Well, I was thinking of that, and that's why I wrote that book about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A small book that gives people an introduction to I specifically wrote it for India so that people could know, get some idea about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just a few days ago, that devotee who's an actor on TV came, and he told me that that book had helped him very much. Because he said he was chanting before Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasa Gaura, but he didn't really know anything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then by reading that book, then when you know, to know him is to love him. His feelings for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to awaken. So that's my answer to this question.
We say, by we say Nityananda Prabhu, we can get the message of Mahaprabhu. So how to get the message of Nityananda?
Well, that comes in parampara. So, you get the mercy of your Guru, and then it goes up. The petition goes up and the mercy comes down. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu to preach and spread Krishna consciousness. So by participating in the endeavor to spread Krishna consciousness, we can get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. We can also pray for the mercy. Narottama baro duki nitai more kore sukhi. Narottama Das is teaching us how to pray to Nityananda Prabhu. And I'm very unhappy, but you are Nityananda, you're always happy, so make me happy also. Ha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripa Balokano Karo Ami Baro Duki. The same thing Narottama says in another very well-known song of Narottama Das, that Nityananda, you're always full of the bliss of Krishna Prem, so please mercifully glance at me who am unhappy. So we tell people that don't pray for anything material, don't pray, give me money, give me a better job, don't pray for all these things. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't pray for anything. We don't pray for anything material, but we can pray for spiritual boons. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he prays, Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kame. My dear Lord, I'm coming to you. Everyone's coming to you. Give me money, give me followers, make me powerful, and give me beautiful women, give me this, give me that, give me so many other things. I'm not coming for that. And some people may come asking for mukti, but I'm praying, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Bhavatad bhakti ahaitu kichvai. May I have devotion to you without any personal desire. So Narottama Das has given us so many songs which he teaches us how to pray. We don't even know how to pray because if we pray, we'll pray for so many stupid things. But Narottama Das teaches us how to pray to Lord Nityananda for his mercy. So we have a few of the songs in Tamil. You all learn this. It's an essential part of Bhakti to learn how to pray to Bhagavan. So our acharyas, they have given that. Here in South India, this Mukunda Mala, that is very popular. And especially among the Sri Vaishnavas. I think maybe not the smartest, but the followers of Ramanujan. So this perfectly expresses the Bhakti Bhavana, the mood of Bhakti. It's a little difficult because it's in Sanskrit. But these prayers composed by the acharyas, they are the expression of their pure consciousness, their pure soul's devotion to Krishna. So they write that down, and in this way they express their bhakti to Bhagavan. But they also, by doing so, they also leave that for us, so that we can recite these prayers and get the mercy of the acharyas, and by their mercy we can learn how to pray to Bhagavan in a way that's pleasing to Bhagavan. Sorry for the long sentence. There's like so many people come to the temple and you see they're praying with intensity. Oh Bhagavan, how am I going to pay off these debts? Please help me. So, I really want to get that American visa. My exam's coming. Oh God, you have to help me because I'm stupid and I can't pass without your help. Or they think, actually I'm very intelligent, but I don't mind a little help from you also. And Bhagavan is saying, okay. Then someone comes and says, Bhagavan, I don't want money, I don't want followers, I don't want beautiful women, I only want bhakti. Bhagavan says, oh, very nice. So our acharyas, they teach us how to pray in a way that will actually be pleasing to him. And when he is pleased, then we will be pleased. Bhagavan may give us unlimited amounts of wealth and fame and so many things, but that will never satisfy us. But the pure devotion without any personal desire, that is pleasing to the soul, because that is the natural situation of the soul. Anything else?
If Radha and Krishna should be worshipped in every home, we know that the deities may be worshipped only by secondly initiated devotees. Mm-hmm. So in what way can be Radha Krishna worshipped in every home?
Well, that's the idea. It's that's why we're preaching, or we're attempting to preach Krishna consciousness. We don't want that everyone will remain a mudha forever. The whole idea of preaching Krishna consciousness is that people will become Krishna conscious. Why only the human beings? The souls in the cat's body and the dog's body and the pig's body and the bug's body and even the stones, they can also chant Hare Krishna. It's not impossible. Every jiva, however forgetful they are of Krishna, is intrinsically a devotee of Krishna. So we can aim for that. Why we can aim that everyone will come up to the level of being fully devoted to Krishna. It might not seem possible to us, but then 40 years ago it didn't seem possible that people in the Western countries would give up meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex and chant Hare Krishna. So today it doesn't look possible that most people in Tamil Nadu will give up meat eating, gambling, illicit sex and intoxication and chant Hare Krishna. But we shouldn't think impossible, because by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu everything is possible. Why should you all come here on Sunday when you get a little break from your slaving all week? Then why are you coming here? There's no electric fan. We make you sit on the floor. Why are you coming? You could be sitting at home watching TV or doing something else useful like sleeping. But you're coming here. because you're attracted to Krishna. Otherwise, who will come to a field and at the edge of Salem, just beyond the what's it called, magnesite mines? You're coming here because there's something better than you can get at home. So take it back to your home. Make your home a temple of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna every day and dedicating all your activities to Krishna. Then gradually you can become more and more Krishna conscious. And then you can worship Krishna in your home. The worship of Radha Krishna begins with chanting Hare Krishna. That is worship of Radha and Krishna. And at some point the deity worship may be introduced also. Hare Krishna.